Well, I go to my channel and see if this is up. Okay, we're live and got a big black blank screen. Do you guys have a blank screen?
No, I see a hoof.
Huh, I wonder why there
I
isn't
see a hoof too.
Okay. Wonder why there isn't. Oh, okay. It's working. Just a minute here. Okay. Okay, so anyway, we're gonna just look at this horse and see what I had her do. Now, I've already shared some stuff on this, so I don't think she'll mind if I share some more since the horse is doing so well. Of course, I haven't talked to her in a week, you know, for all I know. Who knows what's happened. Let's see here. Let me get on here. Hold on. I will reshare here in a second. This is Charlie. Let's see, new share. Okay, you remember this little horse here from a couple weeks ago? Well, let's look at him a couple weeks ago. Let's see here. Okay, well, he's been cast. Well, she had 3 feet cast right here. So we're going to go back a few videos. Just a second. Come on. Slow. Do it like this. That way I can go back here like so. Are you seeing the big pictures?
Yes.
Okay, good. I didn't know if it changed with it. And this is what I would call complete mechanical founder. I also talked recently to somebody who got into some discussion with a vet who said there's no such thing as mechanical founder, or they had never heard of it. Okay, so here he is. He's pretty sore-footed there, but he was much worse than even right here, because this is still, I think this was still after we'd started trimming and getting some of the leverage off of his feet. Let's see, where is that? I mean, when you see feet like that, you know that there's some inflammation and soreness just from the way it looks. See the redness in the white line and the stretching, you know, and see when their feet get so long that there's so much leverage, it's just prying that hoof capsule off like just like you pry your fingernail off, you know. See that you can always tell there's inflammation and wounding on the inside. And you know, when you get a wound or a sore, how it starts to try and heal itself, you know, you'll have pus and wound exude or whatever they call it. See his capsule, the feet were so long. If we go to the first, you see they were clear down here. That's just way too much leverage. Okay, so here he is. You can see he sure walks very tentatively. This isn't the first video, though the first video was worse. He'd already been, see, I told her to stall him up. Okay, these vets, when these horses got laminitis and they tell you good, kick them out there and give them some exercise, that's not what you should be doing, forcing these horses to move around. That'd be because anybody that has ever torn a fingernail off knows you have to stabilize that nail and then you have to grow it out, right? You know, but now the horse's foot is a little different in that if you give it time and you keep them from running around, that it will, some healing will take place and things will stabilize in there so that then they can be let out. But you want to make sure that you don't just let them have lots of freedom too soon, because then what do? They go out and run and buck and jump and feeling great, and then they'll re-injure their feet because they're still not quite stable. It takes a once you have a really bad bout of laminitis, it takes up to a month for the foot to get for the hoof capsule to get stabilized on the inner foot so that they're just not tearing it again and again and again. See, I mean, look at the leverage that was on his foot there. See, the leverage is what causes that distortion. And so anytime you see this, you've got internal injury. See? Now, the feet will stabilize and stabilize and stabilize for a long period of time, but then you just get that one bit of length or whatever like that, and that's the straw that breaks the camel's back. And then you come out the next day and your horse is lame and you're like, oh, what happened? It happened overnight. Must have been something he ate. No, it wasn't. It was in the process of happening. So you can see how this capsule is, the leverages were pulling it right off the foot. You can see that the periopal is stretched down here. Heels are being pulled forward. I mean, this is the same way I remove a hoof capsule. I cut it back here. Of course, this is stretched, not cut, but I'll separate the internal bulb from the frog stay here. I'm pulling it off from behind just like a shoe. I was doing a markup showing her what she needed to take off, the leverages she needed to take off. Now, let's say you have all this and your horse, he's not going into full-blown laminitis, looking totally lame walk yet. Okay. And so, but the thing about it is, sooner or later, if you don't get these leverages off, that is where you're headed. Right? So then if you come in and your horse is showing no visible horrible lameness, but you come in and you do this trim, chances are he's going to be sore afterwards. You know why? Look, all this leverage was pulling on that lamina and pulling it away slowly but surely as the foot grew. And then the foot would like do little bits of healing and stabilization in between. All right. And so then as soon as you take off the pull that this leverage is creating, that foot wants to shrink back up and everything moves internally. So yeah, it's going to be sore. See, you're going to have some soreness. The thing about it is, once you go through this period, and then on some horses, maybe not. Okay. But because all that lamina and everything shrinks and the pull is off of that hoof capsule and everything moves, you can have some soreness. But once all that shrinks back and you kind of get your foot stabilized, then as you trim, you see, I need to have Amanda Smith. Is she here? Amanda, are you here? Let me see who's here. No, she's not here, but she needs to share with you some of the things that she did and what she's seen and that went on with her horse. Well, and now she does a major trim on him every time. He's never sore. See, because his whole foot came back together and started growing right. But when you start removing some of these things that have been pulling that capsule into distortion, you can get some soreness. But this is not like what you get. And of course, too, we all absolutely believe in stabilization using artificial stabilization. See, like okay, let's say I could take and do this trim and put a shoe on it with dental impression material, and you're not going to see any soreness at all because I have added stabilization to the foot. I could use boots, I could use casts. You're going to get a different kind of response with all those, for support and for stabilization. But if you're in a situation where you don't have any of that, but say you have soft ground, or you're kind of going to keep your horse, in for a little bit till he kind of goes through his little phase there, well, then you can get some soreness with these trims. But I want you to know why you are getting that soreness. Now, this horse already has it, all right, because his foot has fallen apart finally. It kept stabilizing a little bit, a little bit, a little bit, a little bit, and finally couldn't stabilize no more. And the hoof capsule's pulling off, and there's no recovery. All right. Nothing he can do for himself. So now you have to come in there. So in this case, you see just the opposite. You see, as you took these leverages off, that he started getting a little better and a little better and a little better, but also she put casts on him to stabilize and hold his feet. See? All right. So let's see. Oh no, I just lost my place. Okay, let me get clear up here. It's going to take me a minute kind of get to the end here. Yeah, see all that laminar separation, and I don't know if this is a front or back foot. I guess it's a front. I can't tell right offhand. Irregardless, feet are not round. See, the sole don't want to be round. See that? Sole wants to be more spade shaped. And this is as if the hoof capsule is already pulled off the bulbs. This is be just periopal skin. That's not supposed to be like that. This cartilage should be clear over here, and you should have hoof capsule supporting that inner foot clear into here. So you can see, look for rings like that. See, hoof capsule goes down from the coronary band here. Shouldn't have those rings being curved like that. That's my horse's foot because I was showing her an example. Okay. And of course, what happens when the heel pulls down like that? What happens to the side of the foot here? Well, that wall has to go somewhere, right? What's it do? It gets pushed outward like that. Again, we talked last time about how a lot of times we do not trim this area the same right here on both sides. Of course, this heel's pushed over, pushing that out too. Well, then this becomes a problem when you're going to be doing corrective trimming and you want to correct this. A lot of times you will have to take this flare over just to get some of the leverage off of it so the wall goes in. I mean, you can see the bar has been over that way. The wall is pushed out that way. And like I said, for this horse, this is all from the heels getting too long, and then it pulls everything forward, pulling the capsule off the foot. Let's see. Okay, so we were doing the virtual trim here. Remember, you're lying in the sand, because your line in the sand also helps you start taking those pillars down when you blend them in. See? You'll automatically, then you're going to blend this in, which is going to shorten them up and help you start maintaining the shape of the foot. Oh, you know what I was going to do? I was going to post this. Just a minute. I was going to post this on our Facebook group. So hold on a second. Let me get. Let's see. Uh, okay. 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 I got 3 different things I got to post this on. Hold on. Let's see. Okay. Da-dum, da-dum. Just a second here. Okay, well, I think I got it on the 2 main ones. So that's good. All right. So we're going to go back to, okay, stop right there. Okay. Sometimes I get a little lost. Okay. Now I got to find that page again. There we are. Okay. So we're going to, oh, look. Yeah. I mean, see, doesn't that look painful? You know, just your hoof capsule, it's like your fingernails being ripped off slowly and gradually. Then you got all that flare. See, total separation in the lamina, between the lamina there, stretching. There'd be hemorrhaging, blood, plus the healing, the pus and all that comes with it. Okay, so here he is. Okay, she's got him at her house now. Okay, before he was at that barn, you can even look down there and see how long his toes are. This horse, he's a pony, he's about 13 and some hands, but these ponies have way bigger feet than what you think. And you can see that there's just a lot of leverage on his toes, pulling his hoof capsule off there. Just not a very happy boy. Yeah. This is when they were at that other barn. Huh? Look at, I just noticed this over here. Look at, they have, isn't that sweet? They put a hole in the door so this little miniature pony can look out. Isn't that sweet? Okay, so this is the barn they were at where the lady, she meant well, but just don't come and take over on people like that, and the people had just got this horse and the feet were already in this condition, and she was kind of treating them like they'd done it on purpose. They only had the horse a week and stuff, and they were trying to just totally take over and kind of stick in a little more than they should have. um Wanting a vet to come out. Well, see, they were having a vet come out anyway, but it wasn't fast enough for this lady, so she wanted her vet to come out, and she wanted, her fairy to look at it, and blah 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 blah. Okay, see, yeah, that looks painful, doesn't it? You see how the hoof capsule just being pulled off the foot? Oh, look at there. See now we've seen the pictures from before. The pictures after she had already trimmed down the line, okay, and they look bad enough, right? But now you can see, I mean, look at that. Look at that heel. Just pulling that, just a lever, pulling the whole foot off there. Sheesh. So she had trimmed it up some, got, that's pretty good because she got the leverage off so the horse was standing up. I think that's pretty good. See there? From that to that, that's pretty good. Yeah, see, when you see all the stretch periopal and everything like that. Okay. I don't know. Somebody complaining there, I guess. Da-da, da-da. Okay, this is just a pony we were looking at. Yeah, see, this all tends here to pull the whole hoof capsule off. So anyway, I was looking for another video, but I guess this is the one she took after she brought the horse to her place. And but he was kind of worse even before that. All right, so anyway, let me go through and find all the videos of him. So that was in January, February, March, April. That was here May, the end of May, that this little incident happened. Charlie. Okay. So he's doing better. See? Just getting that leverage off helped him a lot. See? And so, that lady at that other barn, she just wanted to totally take over and kick this gal out of the picture, you know. But you're going to see he's doing really good. And she cast him, never cast a horse before. Let's see. Okay. Okay, so got some casts on him here. Oh, see there? Nice, pretty pink cast just to help stabilize. Like you would put a band aid on a torn off fingernail, so don't be moving around a whole lot. See, that's the thing. You don't want that capsule to be jiggled moving around because the lamina's loose. See? Okay, so here he is. She said, this is her Shetland. Isn't that just the cutest Shetland? She says that Shetland is just fascinated with him. He's looking for a place to lay down. Oh, yeah, that felt good. All right, you're worth $50. Give us another roll. Have you ever heard that? If they roll over once, maybe it's 100. I don't know. Okay, you're worth $100 now. Oh, 150. There you go. However many times they can roll over, that's what they're worth. It's an old saying, just for fun. To can the Shetland roll over? Nope. Okay. So now here he is in his pink threads. He's walking pretty good. Pretty nice pony. Let's see. Oh, this is a laying down one. Okay, well that's the last ones, but you can see he got a lot better. And um here, I don't know, it was 4 or 5 days ago, she asked me, should we let him out? I said, no, keep him in the stall another week and then reevaluate. Because you don't want to go through all this work, all right? And then they're feeling good. See, they're feeling good. I don't know if you're like this, but I know my husband's like this and I'm kind of like this. I get injured. I don't like it, right? And I don't like to rest. And so as soon as I'm feeling better, I'm up and half the time re-injuring myself. And who's really bad about that too is men. When they get hurt, you try and get them to rest. Yeah, good luck with that. Okay. And then they go out and re-injure themselves. And then they get old and wonder why they have all those problems. So we have to take control of these horses when their feet are like this. And so, however much stall rest till those feet are stabilized to the point to where if he decides to go run and buck and jump, he just don't tear it all loose again. Because then you're right back where you started and probably worse. See, so like I said, this thing where they tell you, oh, you need to go exercise that horse that has laminitis to get the blood flowing. Yeah, I don't think so. That is the stupidest thing. Um, People, they need to think out of the box of what an injury does to them, does the same thing to a horse. So anyway, that's Charlie, and he's doing really good. And definitely not the laminitis walk and not tender footed like he was, but not out of the park yet. You know, it's going to take, like I say, it'll take a year to grow a whole new hoof capsule on him. He'll just get better and better and better and better, though. Okay, pretty nice stout pony. See, and they probably got a deal on him because he was not that he was fair. I don't think he was too sound when they got him, but I don't know. Anyway, he's supposed to be a great lesson pony. So so good. So now he's still got a future, and that's a good deal. All right. Okay. Well, okay, so I guess what I'll ask today is does anybody have a horse's feet they want me to look at or an evaluation they want done?
I have some soul shots.
Okay.
He was lying down. And I can, what would be a good way for me to
in
upload
in
that?
in my messenger.
Okay, I'll start working on that.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, and then you could tell me the story, and we might have to be here a few hours probably if you're like most of us. But
Oh,
tell me what's going on,
okay.
and stuff like that, and you can kind of share some stuff, okay?
Okay, so I'll get to work on this and then somebody else can jump in while
Okay.
I'm doing this. Thank you, Linda.
Okay, you're sure welcome. Okay, so does anybody else have anything I want to share? Anything you learned this week? Anything you've been thinking about? Um,
I have a question on behalf of Lumi.
okay.
It's Tiffany. Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Lumi wanted to know some horses with laminitis. Oh, she's in another meeting. That's why she couldn't ask herself. The periople skin gets really thick and does some weird stuff in the back. Is that
Yeah.
a cause or effect of the laminitis? In other words, did it contribute to the laminitis, or is the foot trying to secure the back of the hoof while the front of the hoof is in crisis?
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it. I believe that the periople goes nuts and crazy because I've seen it on my own pony. When I kept trimming the heels out of her, and her periople kept really growing weird and long and strange, and then I got a picture here I was just looking at. Just a minute, we'll look at it. Dum 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 dum. Where did I see that? Just a second here. Okay. This is a dissection I did where the periopal was crazy. Let's see. I just seen that. Hold it on a second. USB, DCM. Hold on. Okay. Let's see. New share. I'll need to find the other ones. Okay, so this foot here, obviously, you know, and you can see where the foot has literally been, the coronary band has been squeezed up and out of the capsule right there. So I soak these feet and okay, see there?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's in layers too. And what I think and what I've seen is that, see where it's come loose right here?
Yeah.
You know, well, it comes loose and then it grows another layer. And because the foot is literally being pulled out of the capsule. So the periopal is growing and growing and growing. And so I think what you have here is you have layers of where the foot has all either come loose or almost come loose, and the foot is actually pulling up while the hoof capsule is being pulled off. All this because it's cartilage and stuff, it's stretching and it's growing at the same time though. So and what you'll find too is you'll find a lot of times layers of sole where the heels and everything were pulled right out of the sole that was already growing, and then internally started growing sole again and stuff. Now, what's interesting too to find out about the periopal is that it is tubules, like hairs. In fact, everything on this foot is tubules: the frog, the wall, the sole. You can see now the foot itself would be down like this and kind of bent like so, bent around this way and then wanting to be bent under this way, but the cartilage is so strong and the digital cushion that it pulls up, even though this is all being pulled this way, all this foot is wanting to pull up this way. There you go. There's a good picture of it. I know this is what she's talking about.
Yes.
You know, yeah, pretty ugly. It's pretty ugly. See, and this wants to come loose, the foot, because as long as we remember, the capsule is its own separate entity, even though it grows from and is attached to the foot. And the foot is permanent. The horse always has this foot, but the capsule is temporary, you know, temporal. And the capsule you have here this year is gone by next year. No, these just are so not easy to fix. Once you have rotation clear up to here and pulling that down that way, you know, it's probably almost better if it did come loose like it did in the front, you know. I think as we learn more, we're going to figure out what we can do to these feet to free them. Because what you have is first of all, the foot has been forced into a shape that it doesn't want to be in. And it's that foot that grows the capsule to be the shape of the way the foot is supposed to be. So then you have this situation going on where you're trying to grow on a new foot and you're growing off the old foot. But it's really hard if the old foot is continuing to hold the foot in a bad position to begin with, because then the wall can only grow that way, you know? And so trying to figure out what can I do to free up this foot, so that the foot itself can move to a better position, which this is playing right into, I wish I had pictures. I don't. I will go and get them this week. But this is playing right into a situation that I am in with a pony that I trimmed several months ago that got really, really long feet and was going through mechanical founder. I showed his pictures before. I'll show them again. I'm trying to remember. Where were those pictures? Because I think I've learned something very interesting, and it's tentative. It's what do you call it? A hypothesis? A theory I got due to some things that happen. But anyway, back to this. So, trying to figure this out, yeah, how to free the foot so that it's growing, but still protect the foot so it has some capsule on it. And yet the capsule on it is holding it in a really bad position. You see all this up here. It's just like smooshed together, rotated clear up into the coronary band. You can see just the different layers where the foot has released and let loose, Like, wow.
Hi, Linda. This is Anka. May
Hi.
I ask a question?
Hi, sure.
I totally missed the beginning, but it's exactly the same problem I deal with at this time. And I was wondering if we could help these little ponies if we just like rasp into the wall at a point where it got this little whip. I don't know other way. Yeah.
Right in there.
Exactly. A little bit deeper.
Yeah, I don't know.
I saw you doing it in one video. It's like,
yeah, I've done
long time ago with this white pony mare. And
I've done it. Now, that Dora the Explorer?
It was after Dora the Explorer, I think.
Okay. I don't remember which one it was. I've tried all kinds of things. I've even done resections where I just took the whole wall out and even filled it with epoxy,
Okay.
But then it had the problem that the back of the foot was bound with all that pushing up there, and so it still did nothing. At this point, for me, when somebody comes to me with a foot like that, me personally, I kind of want to run the other direction sometimes. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh no, please. I know there's answers though. I just don't have them.
Right.
Once it's that bad, trying to get that foot straightened out without it doing this number back here continually, I just don't know. But I have learned some things. I'll show you. Once we go through these pictures, I'll show you this pony's feet that I've been doing and explain to you. And like I said, I'm not sure yet, but something miraculous happened to this pony.
All right.
Okay. That I am really amazed, because I was just there last Friday to trim him again. And it was like he'd put his shoes on. Okay. You know how if you put your shoe on and it's only half in, you know? Okay. That's the way his capsule was. And because that's what we're seeing on all these, Okay. And the results of what had happened when your capsule is only fitting halfway. It was as if something opened up and his foot had fully slipped into the capsule.
That's great.
Everything was different about him. And the owner who has been to college and has degrees in agriculture and horse stuff, anatomy, what do you call it? What do you call it when you judge horses' bodies? What is that called? Conformation. Okay. He knows all about conformation and I mean all these things, and he's a bulldogger and he's had horses his whole life, and I mean performance horses and things like that. And he was pointing out that the body on this pony was totally different. See, he was pointing out how the whole body had relaxed and different things going on. See, but there was something that he'd been doing too since I had been gone. Well, I'll find the picture of the pony here and I'll share it. Gosh, I hope I can remember where they were because I just ran into them. Okay.
Hey, Linda, before we go to another topic, on Tiffany's question, she was asking for Lumi about the periopal skin.
Yeah.
And whether or not, it grows funny because it's attempting to either shed the capsule or retain the capsule.
Yeah.
I think it pretty much depends on the individual horse because I've seen it do sort of both.
Uh-huh.
Which is why I've been asking on, sort of repeated calls here, whether or not it's always best to trim the periopal, because I'm finding sometimes it's not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes you're better off to leave it alone.
Yeah. Yeah. Depending on, is your capsule being pulled off? Or is there a lot of, if the foot is really bound in the back, maybe you need to grow some more hoof capsule first before you release too much of that.
I'm finding it's sort of like, someone who chronically picks at their cuticles and they start to grow funny.
Yeah.
Or somebody that's constantly, pulling their fingertip off, and then underneath it grows funny. Sometimes it'll do that skin there will do the weirdest things just to try to keep that nail on. Yeah. And that's what I attribute that funky periopal growth to is the hoof is always trying to heal itself.
Yeah.
The hoof is trying to keep the horse alive.
Yeah.
So some permutations before the hoof capsule grows inside enough to push that funky periopal off.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes, when the foot is so bound, the result is because of the binding, like in this foot here.
I know it's amazing. Sometimes it needs to go and sometimes it needs to stay.
Yeah.
And sometimes the only way I can figure out whether to take it off or leave it on is just to grab the hoof, and see how much the capsule moves. Does that make sense?
That's interesting. Okay.
It's amazing to me how much these horses can change just given, one or two little bits of skin off here or a little bit of soul alone, or it's I wish human beings could leave themselves alone with it.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't know. That's why I'm always leery of the prescription of take this here and take that there, because sometimes it might just depend.
Well, yeah. See, it's not always the same,
Well, that's what I'm finding. I was just wondering if you were finding the same thing.
I've found the same thing because, when I first started seeing this thing on the periopal, I took and I made this concoction that I put on my pony's foot. And what it was I made an exfoliant, You know, I mean, I read up on everything they put it, you know, that stuff you buy, you put on your hands and you rub it in and it takes all the dead skin off. You ever use that? Anybody here?
I'm answering you, but I muted my phone.
Oh,
But yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
Well,
I know what you're talking about.
I read up on what that was, and then I made this concoction, you know, it had all this stuff in it. And then I put it on my pony's feet and I wrapped her feet in towels and plastic bags and I let it stay on all night. And when I came out the next day, it I could take it off with my finger like butter. And it was like had turned into mush. Now her I'm talking about the dead periopal skin that was on the hoof, not the live. It left everything living, but it took off everything else that was periopal skin that what was dead and solidified and holding the foot on. Not holding the foot on, but kind of binding it up more, I guess you would say. You know, I'll have to find those pictures because it was very interesting. And what was left was just a fresh hoof with fresh periopal skin. See, it would be like if it was all this stuff here, all the deadish stuff that it took off, but it left this part here, which I found to be very interesting, you know, and, but then I don't feel like that was the right thing to do because I think because I didn't know her feet were that bound because then she rotated and she went into a bout of laminitis when I did that. So I never did that again, you know, but who would think just soaking them and taking this stuff off that's on the hoof capsule itself would do that? Well, then Linda Van den Elzen, because we were both doing it at the same time. She did something similar to her mare with the club foot. Okay, and the mare was doing really good. And but she did that and removed that same dead periopal that was down here. Okay, and that foot rotated. And so what I see is that it's not just this periopal here that's holding that foot together. It's all this that it exudes on the hoof wall and it just binds that whole hoof wall and it's trying to hold that whole foot in to a certain position within that distorted capsule. See? And so then if you loosen it up too much before the foot's ready, see, before you've grown more in and allowed things to relax and things like that, it can have a negative effect. Do you understand what I'm saying? So anyway, so I've had a couple of bad reactions. That's why you do want to remove periopal and remove frog and things like that. But when you have a really chronically foundered horse, you have to be really careful with that. Now, on a pretty normal foot, it's not as big a deal. Okay, but on a chronically foundered horse like this, you know, sometimes about anything you do can cause them to rotate again. You know, and what is rotation? Rotation is just the foot coming loose in the capsule and the capsule being pulled off. That's all that's happening. When we talk about rotation, the capsule's just being pulled off of the foot. So that is my experience with that. So more study to be done on it, more to be understood, more in understanding the structure, more in where is the foot at right now? Can I take this off and there be no detrimental effects like that? See? So anyway, you know, like, what do you do to this foot? You know, A lot of now it looks like they really tried to take that toe down and keep the toe back, but all that's happening is the inner foot here, the toe is aimed straight down right there. Now I haven't taken the hoof capsule off this one. I need to take the hoof capsule off this foot so I can see what's going on here. It's in the freezer.
Well, then to take a whole lot of pictures while you're ripping that one off. There's a lot to be learned from that one.
I sure will. Yeah, wow.
It would be really interesting to see with that foot how much lamellar wedge you could take off in the front.
Yeah. Yeah, I would like to know that myself.
It also kind of seems like, just as I was listening, wow, that doesn't look like you could take a whole lot off right there, does it?
Yeah, no, not really. I mean, what it is the wall is curled up like,
Right.
Like that. And look, this has come, look, he's growing more periopal right there because this has literally been, the inner foot is wanting to pull up this way because it's being forced down this way. See? So you take, oh, go ahead.
He's been walking around on his tippy toe for forever.
Yeah.
I'd like to see what his coffin bone looks like inside of there.
Yeah, me too. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll dissect that foot this week. We'll look at it next week. Okay.
Ooh.
Maybe we'll just do a deal next week where in the morning I'll get it ready to dissect and we'll just do it in the hoof chat.
That would be really cool.
Yeah, and then we can look at it.
Gross, but really cool.
Yeah, gross but really cool.
I'm in. That sounds awesome.
Okay. Okay, well, good. Well, we got a plan for next week, and I'll get a picture of this pony I'm going to show you too, because it was flat amazing, and I had an idea of what may have happened. I don't know yet, but anyway.
Well, Linda, with that foot, that coronary band seems pretty straight. I find this really, I mean, I'm no expert, but just based on what I've learned from you, it seems like there's a lot of contradictory things going on. You've got a fairly straight band, you've got really tall heels, you've got hoof capsule that's pushed up by virtue of those wrinkles. It seems like you've got the mess on the bottom and the foot's response on the top. Am I kind of on track there?
Yeah. Let me show you a picture of what I think is going on.
So that actually leads to my follow-up question. When it's Tiffany again, in the last hoof chat, you had a cadaver hoof with a new bar and sole growing in underneath the old stuff. Is that possibly what's trying to happen to the previous?
Yeah, I think so. I think she's got probably a couple layers going there.
Yeah.
Like the foot came loose once and started growing it again, came loose again from that and started growing it again. We'll definitely know for sure when we take off the hoof capsule.
So when you have a living horse, what are the signs of a new bar and new sole more than new bar growing in? Like, are there any indicators of, hey, this bar is not actually attached and there's a new one coming through?
Well, I think first of all, you're going to be having problems with lameness or abscesses. Because see, I had a horse that happened to that I showed people the pictures of how I wound up taking off the sole, the bars, everything, and there was a whole brand new sole and bars growing underneath. Now how it started was, well, looked like he had an abscess, so I started, kind of lightly taking that out. Well, then you could see a dirt line next to the new sole that was next to the abscess and the old sole. So I just started following that dirt line. See, whenever you see a dirt line, you know that you got something growing over something. And so as I followed the dirt line, the whole sole came off. Then the bar also came off and the horse was growing a whole new sole and bar underneath. Let's see. I'm trying to find this deal here if I can. Of kind of what happens, how the foot gets bent. Now, see, I've been running into this picture a million times. Every day, running into this picture. Now I can't find it. Let me go back up. So hold on. Well, I'm gonna have to just describe it because I'm not sure where these pictures are. I got, which I have a coffin bone and a sponge. I was doing this deal too where I show how the foot gets bent up. I don't know what I did with that. Anyway, so, well, here, if I get a regular foot and show you, then we can kind of imagine it here. Well, here, let's look at another type of founder and what was going on with the toe. And this foot here was not bent like the one you see in this picture here. So let me get a picture of this foot here. Okay. Doesn't have the same type of hoof capsule. This is a different horse from this one here. What I should do is I should take pictures of these two and put them, two different types, same situation. They're both foundered, but the hoof capsule and the foot are different in the one we're looking at here. Okay, you see this foot here? You're going to see the same thing going on back here in the periopal. But look, see the wall, see how the wall is different in front, and look at the foot. The foot is spread out. The foot is not bent like the other one. Like if we go back to that other foot, just a minute here. Pause, share, new share. Okay. A second. Gotta.
It doesn't seem like that new one has gone as far.
No,
like if it would go longer, then it would start to crinkle on the front.
Yeah, I think it would because it's rotating up, you know, and the toe is long. But look at the cartilage here. Look at how it's all wrinkly in here.
Yeah.
Okay, and look at how it comes down like, well, that's not very good. Just a minute. Comes down like this.
Mm-hmm.
See? And then this here. Okay, so we know that the foot is bent. Probably comes down like this. And then, let's see, I don't know, something like this. Not quite like that, but no, not quite like that, but the foot is bent. Like if I took this side here and this side here and I just bent the foot together. Toe here, that way, heel here, in that way. Because you know it's cartilage, right? And so the coffin bone is being bent this way. And so it rotates up like that, which is going to push this bone out here that way. And then this is being pulled down this way. So, all right. So then, just a minute here. Totally different here. Totally different. The foot is not bent at all. I know it's not because I dissected it. See, this is going to be great. I'll get this foot out too. I dissected it and it was not bent at all. It was a normal foot, see, in here. But the toe was worn off on the bone still. So definitely different than that other one. So it'd be like, okay, so here's your coffin bone, you know, however, in the front. So you just bend this down. Remember the cartilage? See, this cartilage looks good. That cartilage was like this. And then this bone that looks good here was pushed forward like so, which is what happens when you take this part of the foot and bend it that way, and the coffin bone and bend it that way. And of course, the capsule, you know, is being forced this way, the capsule itself, because remember, you've got to remember you're dealing with two different things. So you got two different structures, and they can both have totally different stresses, because ultimately we want this capsule to be in weight-bearing equilibrium and the lamina in alignment with the foot. But what happens when we got this scenario going here is you really have the foot pulling one way with the capsule pulling this way. And so, yeah, if this happened long enough and different things went on, eventually this probably could get bent down here. This could go that way. The capsule's going this way. So this minute here. All right, so I'm going to find a picture of that pony to show you. Just a minute, might take me a second. Pictures. Okay. Okay, well, he's after this picture. So just a second here. Let's see. He's after the pictures of this horse here. So we'll just go ahead and go through all those. Okay, here he is. Does anybody remember me showing you this pony here a while back?
That is just unbelievable.
That I trimmed. And really all that happened to him, well, and actually I trimmed him a year or so ago too. But then he had a farrier coming to trim him. But I don't know what happened. His feet just grew long and, you know, kind of got away from him, you know? That's really all that is. I mean, and plus some of it is foot binding here. This pony looks totally different now. It was amazing. Oh my gosh, it was so hard to cut these feet off. Cut them down too. I used every tool I had. You know? Boy, his back feet totally bent over. This is primarily growth. But see, a lot of times when people look at the bottom of these feet, and you can see that he's got the laminar wedge starting there. And it's actually a lot bigger than that, but the sole is covering it over. Okay, so I didn't take any before pictures here, but he had this big periopal in here. You see, now in this case, you have to cut this out. You can't leave all this in here or the length, you know, but you see how heavy duty that periopal got. I mean, and it was thick and hard. So you can tell it's definitely trying to hold his hoof capsule on. So much leverage, you know. Like I said, I was using everything I could to try and get hoof length off. I was using a saw there. Because he had a whole extra foot.
Did you sedate him?
No, he just stood there for me.
What a good boy.
He was a good boy.
Oh my gosh.
But I need to show you pictures of him now because it's amazing what happened to him. Because I trimmed him one time besides this, like 8 weeks ago. But in the meantime, John, who is the owner, had been coming out and just thinning down the toe wall and the sole in the toe. And it was as if, like, okay, there's two things. There's like when I started first dealing with laminar wedges. Let me do a whiteboard here just a sec, or maybe I can do this just a second here. Criminally horse. Gee, I mean, he's got a big laminar wedge in here. You know, you can tell he's stepping out of his shoe, out of his capsule back here. And so there, I know there's a big laminar wedge in there because the second time I trimmed him, it was fully exposed and it was over an inch wide. And, but I went ahead and I took his toes back pretty good and just some different things and tried to kind of set him up to grow right. Well, in the meanwhile, John, here, I'm going to annotate on this. That's what I'll do. Okay, so in here is this laminar wedge. Like so. Could it be back here? Now this laminar wedge, I'm trying to think, it's literally the lamina on the inside of the hoof capsule is growing and multiplying like so in there. Now, the theory always was before you grow out this hoof wall, so that it is tightly connected to the foot. Let's say the foot is here, somewhere in there. Something like that. I don't know for sure. And so the idea was you get the wall to grow straight down the foot here. The problem with that is a lot of times when you try and do that, when you really take the toe back here, all it does is take this laminar wedge and push the laminar wedge back on the foot and push the toe back even more like that. See? Now if it's not rotated clear up into here, it won't always do that. I mean, you do have cases where I think depending on how much wedge is in there, you can grow it out so that it's, tightly connected to the wall here. Okay, but if your toe is pushed down that far and you back that far, that foot is rotated, that coffin bone is rotated that much, because that's how they determine it right here, looking at that a lot of times. And you grew that wall straight down, then look, you're going to have a can foot. You know what I mean? You're going to have a can foot. We've seen that. So you can see that his coronary band goes like this. So his foot is bent. All right. Let me undo some of this here.
So you're saying you shouldn't trim the wedge?
Well, not always, because what I found out is if you try and grow that out by taking the toe way back, the wedge doesn't come out. It just pushes the toe back.
Got it.
Okay. And I wound up with canned feet that grew like this.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So
how would you, I mean, what would be the indication that that you shouldn't trim the wedge?
well, if the foot is really bent like this,
Then
and the back of the foot, well, look at this periopal here and look at how the foot is curved. See? So you know the back of this foot here is curved under here. And so anything up here that pulls and pushes that way pushes into everything in front of it and pushes up into the coffin bone, which is right here. Okay, which makes it rotate back this way.
Okay.
Okay, so ultimately what we would want for the foot to straighten out. Let me undo this here. I needed to kind of draw that different because you're seeing, let's see, so the foot is like this. I'm trying to figure out, and then this goes like that. Let's see. What's kind of bent like so. That's not a very good picture, but you want that foot to be standing straight. Let me get a picture here. Just a minute here. We need to look at a picture of a normal foot. So hold on. Let me stop that for a second. Okay. I'm looking for a picture of a normal foot. Hold on. Okay. Well, that's a crappy picture. Just a second. I'm looking for a picture of a good foot. So we can compare. Just a second here. Oh, well, okay, this will work. Okay, okay, you see here, this is a foot that's standing flat right here. It's not a perfect foot because the cartilage was still bound up and kind of pulled down. But this is a foot that's standing flat, and this is a foot that's more like the one we're looking at right here. See how it's bent down this way, and the back is bent under this way. And here's a thing too. Well, no, I'm gonna forego that. Never mind. This pink thing I'm showing is just what's kind of maybe going on with the bar, but I did that wrong, so I don't know. But this is just an example of what's going on. So ultimately, remember I said the capsule then is going to grow. It's either going to be distorted with a laminar wedge out here. Just a second here. Let me annotate. Okay. If the see your laminar wedge would be here. And so you're wanting to get the foot released so it straightens out. So your laminar wedge is in here. Now this pony had this laminar wedge. And before it was always a matter of trying to get to the place. Either I would try and grow it out. On some of them you can, okay? But on some of them you can't. All it'll do is push the toe back even further. back this way if you try and, you know, shorten it up like that and grow it down. But what happened to this pony? It was pretty interesting because he had a big laminar wedge like that. And so you got the laminar wedge and you've got sole. Usually sole, right in here, a lot of times you'll see sole that covers the laminar wedge too. Like you don't even know all that laminar wedge is there. When you take down the sole and you uncover it, like you might uncover it to there. But then in between here and here, you still have this sole. You know, and so what happened to this pony is something I'd never seen quite like the way it happened. So he's got a hoof capsule, right? Let me make a hoof capsule. So he's got this hoof capsule. That's your hoof capsule. Like so. Now I undid and removed frog back here and left him heel, and I removed periopal back here too. But I didn't totally take back the toe or the laminar wedge that I remember. In the meantime, what John had been doing is he had been coming in here and just cleaning up this sole in here. Wait a minute, I wonder if I have a eraser. Probably. Oh, let's do it with white. Just a second.
And I presume from where you're going, that was a good thing.
Well, it seems to be. Just a minute. I'm going to need a different color. Let's see. Undo. Just a second here. Draw. I need color. Okay, so this is what he told me he was doing. He was just coming in. I wasn't supposed to do that. Just a minute. Redo. Undo. There we go. Just a second. Okay. He was coming in here and just taking out some of this sole, kind of cleaning it up and keeping the toe about the same. Okay. Just kind of cleaning this up. Now, what I saw and what I think happened is I think this lamina here shrunk up and moved the other way. Just a minute here. I mean, he's still got some laminar wedge, but it's not as thick as it was. So I think that the lamina started to push this way, and it opened up here, and his foot, it was like his foot came this way and fit in the capsule again. In other words, I think by kind of just trimming out a little bit of this toe in here and this sole that was holding this here, that it allowed this foot to straighten up, and this lamina shrank. The lamina shrank so that the toe was able to go back in the capsule, because now he's only got a laminar wedge that's about this long right there, and he's standing in his capsules. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I think I hear what you're saying is that there are forces that can push toward the middle, the lamellar wedge in the front and the periopal in the back. And you have to be super careful about what you release when.
Yeah.
Because the whole thing could just go to shit, basically. Excuse me.
Yeah. Hey, that's a good way to put it. Okay.
And
that's a good way. But what I'm saying is this laminar wedge, before it gets really hard and nasty, I think that even though it's like this, okay, like this, that it can push this way and shrink up to where it's only like this. See these? That
Yeah.
they can be pushed that way and reduced so that the foot can fit and go back into the capsule.
Right. So it sounds like by releasing the periople in the back, sorry for the interference.
That's all right.
We have some other opinions in the room. That if you can release at the right place, which was at the back here, then everything can shift a different direction because you don't have pressure from both sides.
Yeah. And if you've got fresh laminar wedge that hasn't solidified, the toe can actually push against it and it can condense and retract in the other direction so that the toe can go back into the capsule.
Wow, that is amazing.
That's what I seen. I think it has to be because the horse has not grown a new hoof capsule and he had that laminar wedge and it was an inch wide and it's only like about a fourth of an inch wide now.
Wow.
And it was like he just put his feet in his shoes.
Yeah.
And his body, everything was changed.
Wow.
So I'll get pictures of his feet because when I got there and I looked, I was like gobsmacked. I was like, what happened? And then I get to talking to John and he was telling me, well, I just kept coming out about every 4 days and just lightly, trimming the toe up in there. And he was kind of scribing out the sole a little bit, and which would have been over that area of the laminar wedge.
Yeah.
And it was just allowing the toe to slip in and shrink up compress that laminar wedge and get his foot back in the capsule.
So what do you think prompted him to make that decision? Was that something that you guys had come up with together or he just decided, what the heck, I'm going to do it?
Yeah, and it was a combination of that. And I guess he looked at one of my videos where I was scribing out the toe or something, and he's really motivated. Like at first, when at first he just kind of thought I was full of crap, and but then when his pony foundered and it belongs to his little girl and stuff like that, he's really a smart guy anyway, and really observant and detail minded, and so just all these things together, he just started going out there and working on that toe. And whatever it was he was doing worked because the foot, we were both really amazed at how far the pony had come and how but he stood there and he was pointing out all these things to me. It was really amazing. Because like I say, he knows about conformation and things like that. And he had noticed the pony's body was just totally different, and it was really neat. And so it was neat to learn, to listen to him and find out what he had done and to see this result and realize that, well, something went on here.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
And so that's all I could think of was that the foot was in the capsule. That's all I can tell you. And I've never seen it happen like that before.
So Linda, Antoinette here, when he was thinning that laminar wedge, and I'm assuming removing some sole with it, did the foot secrete I don't know what we're calling it, the rubbery ooey gooey stuff?
There was nothing like that in it.
Really? Huh. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, there wasn't anything like that in the foot. What was interesting was the bars had grown really long, which was strange, but everything was looking better. The frogs were humongous, and had grown and pushed the whole back of the foot up. But I definitely know that the laminar wedge was less, and that it wasn't a matter of it growing out. Okay, it was a matter of it it reduced itself somehow.
Linda, what time is Eva here? What time period are we talking about?
We're talking about 5-6 weeks since I was there last, and he'd been continually, every 4 or 5 days, just kind of lightly working on the toe wall and on the wall itself and on the sole, and just kind of kind of lightly thinning it out a little bit.
Yeah, I'm thinking, can we think that capsule has been gliding down like we talked about last time?
Could be, I know it's a combination of the growth, but of the growth and the way that laminar wedge reacted. Let me go back to the picture just a second here.
Yes, please.
Did you ever have x-rays of these feet at all, Linda? I was wondering whether or not you knew how thick or thin the soles were when you started and where they are now.
Well, they were really thick. See there? Look at there. There's laminar wedge. See how it looks? And it was thicker than that. It goes clear back to here.
Linda.
Yeah, we have the wrong picture on the screen.
Oh, sorry. Just a minute. New share. There we go. So this is the laminar wedge right here. Stretched white line. So I could see how that could shrink. And of course, it's bigger than that. It's just been uncovered that much. It goes clear back to here. But it was definitely different. It wasn't.
Can you show the side view again?
Yeah. Like that. See? So his foot is clear up in here. He had an extra foot growing there. And of course, the hoof capsule's pulling off this way and his foot's pulling back that way. Because the foot, your feet want to stand the way your feet want to stand, regardless of whatever shoes you got on. And so you got big clown shoes pulling off your foot. Then it's just pulling everything, this way. So he had really, really big laminar wedges. Yeah, back feet looked great. It was like a whole change in the whole pony. Look, well, yeah, you could see why he would look better, obviously, because he had to stand like that,
Yeah, one would think.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, but now he's, well, and it wasn't John's fault. Because he had a farrier going out there, but these ponies' feet can grow so fast that before you know it, and that's just growth. That's just only from having too much growth, because his foot is, let's see, where's the annotate? His foot's only supposed to be about so big.
How long ago, when was that pony's last trim?
Friday.
No. Before you saw this, when you first saw this horse, how long ago had it been trimmed? Because that would have to have been a hell of a long time. I'm sorry, no matter whether he had a farrier trimming him or not, that was a long time.
Not if every time the farrier's leaving a little more, and the farrier don't know how to trim and doesn't know how to trim a foot that gets away from them. See, some of these farriers, they don't always know how to trim a foot that gets away from them. It looks like it has live sole. See, and that's what you got going here. Because they pick up the foot and they look at the bottom and the pony's standing up, and a lot of times they're just really not looking at these horses.
But you don't have to look at the bottom of that horse's. You can look at the side. You can look at that horse just the way wrong with his feet.
He's out in a pasture, okay, with the other horses, and you're not looking at him every day. And a pony's feet grow as fast as a big horse's feet, but the problem is they're twice, about a third to twice as small, and so the growth has a faster reaction on them. Like if this was a big horse's feet and they were this long, it wouldn't make any difference, but because it's a pony, that's why you need to trim ponies more often than you do a big horse, because the growth, even though it's the same amount, it has twice the effect, on a pony, because a pony's smaller. Does that make sense? See, structurally, because of the size of the pony, the same amount of growth, like if I have an inch of growth on a big horse, he can handle it more than a pony could because of the size of the pony's feet. It becomes way more leverage on that pony than it would on a bigger horse. So, just a minute here.
Yeah, I get all that. I understand the physics of it. I'm just saying that anybody who calls himself a farrier should have been able to look at those feet and know that, like, a horse shouldn't be standing with his toes pointing up in the air.
Well, they weren't originally. They weren't. Okay. They wouldn't have been. They weren't originally. The farrier was coming, trimming the horse, and the horse is out in a pasture with deep grass with other horses. And then you got owners that work 24/7, 7 days a week, and then they come out and they find that, hey, this pony's got problems. So the foot was so long that he could no longer stand up on the back feet, and so, well, we've all had experience with farriers, right? They don't often look at the rest of the horse. When the farrier came, the pony wouldn't have been standing like that.
Well, that's why I was wondering when the last time was the farrier was there.
Probably 8 weeks. Probably around 8 weeks before this.
I got a similar pony like this with these crazy hoofs, and the owner told me that it was like 12 weeks, 12 to 16 weeks, and it looked like the same.
Yeah. See, their feet. Now, a big horse they'll handle it better. Their feet might splay out more and stuff like that, but these ponies, right away. And then what happens is people look at it and think, oh my gosh, they found it on grass, or they found it on this or that. No, pretty much it's growth and leverage, growth and leverage. So, yeah.
It's just
exactly. Wow. And I just wanted to ask you how the living situation of this pony were. Because the pony I trimmed and I posted on the Facebook page was like, it was autumn and winter, and she was in the stable all the time, standing in her own.
Oh, yeah, that'd be worse.
They didn't recognize it, and the farrier had no time to come over, and then someone told someone that I help ponies, and so they called me, and I came over to see it, and I was like, flipping back over my shoulder, and it was like, oh my God, this can't be true. Something like this, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it just gets away from people,
Yeah.
And of course, this pony's out in like a 5, 6, 7, 8 acre pasture with another horse and a pig and a llama, and and of course, by the time it got like this, he took it and he locked it up in with a round bale, and stuff, and then called me, because he was wondering if the pony could even be saved, because people are taught that, see, when they look at this, they think this is founder, but this is just excess growth that got away from people. Because, like I said, ponies out in the pasture, you got a farrier coming every 6, 8, 9 weeks, whatever it was, because he came fairly regular, you know. And then the farrier comes in and he looks at the bottom of the feet, and see what you're seeing here, that was full of frog. And I wish I would have taken a picture because the bottom of the foot looks normal, you know. So, and look, he's got at least a good 1.5 to 2 inches of sole here that I still got to take off. And farriers want, you know, especially if they're not really super trained, when they run into this sole like this, they have no idea what to do. Because this looks like live sole. You got what looks like live sole and thick frog, and the foot looks normal, only it's twice as big as it should be this way. See? And so that farrier, last time he came, that foot was probably, it's probably grown this much, you know, at least. And I'm sure the pony was standing up by then, but then it just got to be too much where it's too long. He can't stand up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'll tell you.
The way you picked up the foot, was it a front or a back foot?
What? Oh, this the other foot here? That's a front
or a back.
That's a front foot, I think.
Yeah. Because the pony that I trimmed was awfully overgrown with, I think, like 3 centimeters of hoof wall overgrowth and very long and overlaid bars, but a teeny tiny little frog because it was all full of thrush.
Oh yeah, and see, and this one didn't really have thrush. He had full blown frog all the way up. You know, I mean, there was some nastiness in there, but really the bottom of his foot looked normal. I know it took me like 4 or 5 hours to get all that foot off of him, you know. I was like exhausted by the time that was done. Yeah. And I was trying to take it off so that I wasn't totally changing the angles, you know, to where making him lower behind. So anyway, I will that's another thing I'll do this week. So we'll do that dissection next week.
Can I ask? Sorry.
And I'll go take pictures of the pony so you can see the change.
Can I ask a question relating to this?
Sure.
Okay, it's I just came from a farm actually of a horse that I've been helping trim and stuff, and the owners are kind of taking on ownership. But it's I wanted to share. I'm going to put a video together with the story, and it Arab sound, been tack trim for a year and a half or something like that, and so she seemed to be folded, right? Her bar started dropping out, and and then 2.5 months ago, she was trimmed the week before. So over a week later, she was vaccinated with 5 different vaccinations.
Oh my God.
And she got her self stuck underneath a rope that was in her stall. And so she tried to go out underneath it, and no one saw it, but all they saw was she must have then pulled back, hooked onto a rubber mat. The rubber mat was, great big heavy rubber mats was folded. Anyways, this horse can barely walk, but she looks so laminitic to me.
Okay.
Like she looks so sore, but they've had the vet came in. I don't like this guy, so I have a little bit of my own personal opinion about this.
Yeah,
and he said she's sore in her sole. Her soles are bruised. And I'm like, this doesn't even make sense, because I'm looking at the pictures. She has a full set of pictures. And then they have a massage therapist in, and it looks like she's pulled her shoulders and possibly torn the muscles in her shoulders. She had inflammation everywhere. She walks like she's in tremendous foot pain. So I said, cast her, give her support. And I just keep saying, she just shows all the signs that you're looking at. I mean, the foot doesn't look like what I'm looking at right now, but it's a hoof that was good.
Yeah.
And now can it fold that quickly? Because she has all those signs, like she's pulled right underneath and in behind. Her periopal has stretched. Can it happen in like that quickly?
Well, yeah, and I can see where vaccinations do that too.
Oh, I totally, I said, I think she reacted to the,
why the hell you
vaccinations.
need 5 vaccinations?
Oh, they're just so paranoid about, well, I don't want to say too much, but I just very like history of losing a horse.
Sure. Oh,
right.
yeah.
And so they're just doing, just
I mean, all at once, I'm sorry, I'm not into the all at once.
No, I just keep pointing to that. I said, I think this is like a biochemical. I think this happened internally, but I just don't, I'm just curious if, and I will put all the pictures together and show what's happened. Can it happen that fast? Can it literally fold? And but it's not showing at the front, it's showing ridging right now at the coronary band. I'm seeing that ridging coming, but the whole periopal and stretching underneath and the bending of her capsule at the back, I'm like, can that happen in 2 months?
I don't know.
Huh. Okay. Well, this might be a good case of showing that it looks like it did.
Yeah.
And so I'll try and get good pictures together of before and after, and then talk about the story of it. And I just don't believe this is from trimming.
Yeah. It doesn't sound like it.
If she had the horse had mechanical issues going into all that, what I'll call vaccinosis. I mean, that those kind of biological actions, I mean, I've seen coffin bones fall through the foot like in 48 hours, like go from perfectly fine. Like, if they get in the food bin or something like that and they just go septic all of a sudden. I mean, the changes in those hooves can happen overnight almost.
Yeah.
I mean, it's scary.
Because she couldn't even walk out of the stall. And I had video, they took video. But this horse I said, like, it just and she's landing heel first now, and I have video of her walking before and she was fine. So yeah, it's kind of scary. So the thing is now is just exactly what you said, is releasing out the back, keeping some of the leverage off, but frog, periopal, bars, and don't chase the toe. Well, just keep leverage off the toe, right?
Yeah, well, you see this laminar wedge, I can see where you see that stretching weirdness, I could see where you could have a chemical reaction to where it would affect the lamina, to where the lamina would, like, say, release or weird out or come loose or something like that around the whole foot. And then
how you were describing it, I'm sorry, I'm not sure, other than Linda who's talking, because I haven't checked, but it actually does exactly what you said. It just sort of folds up. It's really
her white line looked like I just took a little bit of leverage. I took leverage off and really cleaned out the back, and then did some beveling, and I just took it very gently, like just through the white line. But her not through the white line, just to the beginning of the white line, and the white line looked fairly good. But can you get a laminar wedge that quickly? I don't think so. That could be happening internally, though.
Internally, and the sole here, what can happen is the sole can be connected to the wall, and you can have what looks like a good tight white line, but internally you could have this going on here.
Yeah, I think they need x-rays, like right away. They need to, because I said there's something wrong with this foot. Both front feet, the hind look okay, so but they seem just kind of, I think it's always scary, right? And they just seem really on that it's the shoulders. And I said, this just doesn't make sense to me, that with the changes in the look of the foot. And then also when I was palpating her digital cushion, because she has one, right? She was at a point of having one, her digital cushion, she was tender on the 1 foot in that region. And I'm like, so I think it's an early sign. So that'll be what's kind of, I guess, not really cool about it, but will be educational about it, is that this is a horse that I think is going through this. But you're seeing now not the end result, where like your horse that you're showing here, this is after it's after it's happened. These pictures are during this happening. So that hopefully that'll be just educational for everyone, because I'm like, I look at it and I'm like, I'm blown away that this could have happened. And so she's still in, like, to me, great discomfort, but you know, you're dealing with, you know, they're still owners, right? And they still, I can only say what I know and what you share with us, and then they have to make a decision. But I think she does need to have x-rays and just so that at least then you can know, have some guideline on where to trim.
And you know, you just never know. Stress and the vaccination, and I'll tell you who knows about vaccinations and the effect they can have on a horse is Tiffany, because she lost her horse due to a vaccination. So so you know, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. I'll just keep you posted with that. I just have got the pictures. I just took them. So I just have to put them together, and I can share it in the mentor group or something.
That would be great. Thank you.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. Now I was going to look at somebody's pictures here earlier.
Yeah, this is Meg, and I sent you. So my apologies. I resent them, and they're labeled, and it's not a full set. So
that's all right.
I'm hoping you're seeing them, and so I double sent them. So use the first ones because they have labels of which one it is. And it's just sole shots and some. Yeah, this is like such a.
I'm seeing them.
Oh my God. Okay.
I feel for you.
Well, no, it's just that when I took them, I mean, I had to, you know, you have to go where there's cooperation.
Yeah, no, you did great.
Thanks. He was sleeping. So I thought, oh my God, 10 o'clock at night in Alaska, I'm going to go out and get these puppies. So while he was lying down.
Now, have you had x-rays?
No, I haven't had x-rays. He is suspected equine metabolic, and we're doing a blood test today. He, long story short, in February of 2020, so you've got 3 feet of snow on the ground here. All of a sudden he's like staggering lame, and working with different, vets by phone, it was suspected abscess. No, wasn't the abscess. We had the other vet come out. Hoof testers revealed nothing, but then he went into, I would say, now this is my first experience with this, full-blown laminitis, lying down the whole bit. At that point, I got out there and was looking at him, cleaning him out every day, doing some trimming. And he's not wanting to cooperate with standing. So we're working with that over the next 12 months. So what you're looking at right here is my getting the flares off the front foot. There's only one of each there. And he had started acting uncomfortable and lame again. So he is a quote unquote wild horse from the Warm Springs, Oregon reservation. That is not a horse tribe. Actually, it's a confederation of tribes. And what they do is basically grow horses like a crop and then cull and send to slaughter. So this guy was 3 weeks old when he was orphaned, and came to us as a 5-month-old foal. And so I've been trimming him ever since. And I don't think I've been doing a lot of harm, but I probably have let his feet get overly long. What
Yeah.
you see here is, and also, of course, this was like prior to rasping because, we're just trying to get her done. I found that there was enough flaky sole that I could remove that, so I did. The DF Crosley's is supposed to be arriving today.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, and I had, and so I know that there's disconnection in the one picture because there's, some black stuff there, and so it's not. So basically, I guess if it's probably pretty hard to see because these aren't like super soaked feet or anything. I'm thinking that they look bad, but not horrible.
Well, he's definitely rotated.
Okay.
I can tell by the bulge in the hairline and
Okay.
the angle of the horn tubules that he rotated, which simply means, just a minute, let me go to another picture here. Okay, so let me do it, annotate here, just a minute. Okay, so in order for a foot to be right, in order for the sole to be right, to grow, because he hasn't got that much hoof that he should have that much flaky sole.
Okay.
When you get flaky sole like that, a lot of times it's when the wall is not correctly connected to the sole itself. Okay, so just a minute. I was hoping that would get bigger, but it won't. Just a second here. Let me stop this. Okay, so I'm going to make this big so I can draw on it here. Let's see, draw. Okay, so here's your, this actually is an anatomically correct foot. Now, the back of it is kind of down a little bit because when you take them out of the capsule, the back relaxes because it's supposed to be supported here by the heel buttress. See there? That supports this area here up off the ground. Right there. Okay, so, all right, so what is supposed to happen here is that all along here, internally, in your hoof capsule, you have the lamina. We were talking about a laminar wedge.
Yeah.
Okay, so you see the lamina, the sensitive, this is called the sensitive lamina of the inner foot right here. And then on the inside of a capsule is similar, but it's made out of keratin, a leaf of hoof wall that fits in between all these here. Okay, and that connects, and then the one that starts growing right here comes from this little papillae here and connects to this lamina. It grows down like this till it gets right here. And right here is where it meets a sole tubule. And then, let me get a different color here. Then it joins up with the sole tubule right here. That lamina of the inner hoof capsule joins up. This stuff is squirted into it that's like cement rubber that joins it to the sole right there. And then they grow down to the ground together like so, where about here, the sole dies. Okay, the sole tubules will only grow so long before they die. Wall tubules, they could grow and grow and grow. That's why you see these horses with these feet that grow and grow and they're curled around and all that. Okay, but the wall joins to the sole, which is softer, and then they have to grow down at least that much past the foot for the horse to have any depth of sole under here. See, under this area here?
Yeah.
Okay, so when the foot rotates in the capsule or moves in the capsule, now the outer wall, let's say this is your outer horn tubule. Oh, I wish that wasn't there. Anyway, that's the outer horn tubule. And here's your lamina tubule. Well, I don't want that color. Just a minute. Just a second here. Okay, here's your inner tubule. This is the thickness of the wall here. It's harder on the outside, gets softer as it goes to the inside. And of course, you have, wait a minute. You know, like the wall might be wider there, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, that's your thickness of wall. Well, that's over here too, right? Because it goes around over here. So right here, you have, wrong color, just a minute. Right here, you have, stupid thing. I don't know why this thing's messing with me. Just a minute here. Okay, there we go. No, wait a minute. Okay. Here's the outer part of the wall right here. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so then when the wall gets too long, I mean, look at this horse. This is the horse's real foot, what we're looking at here. Now, that's his physical foot. This is just his fingernail, basically. Okay, so the horse here, he wants to stand the way he wants to stand no matter what. These lamina here and this foot has a way that it wants to stand, an angle it wants to be at no matter what. Okay, so therefore, if as long as everything is connected right, you have weight-bearing equilibrium between the shell that grows and this inner foot. Okay, and everything's kosher. Nothing's pulling against anything else. They're working in unison. But when the heels are trimmed too short, or the whole wall could get too long, or the toe could get too long and the heel's too short, or the heel's too long, or anything like that, anything that is not shaped pretty darn close to this foot. All right. And supporting it the way it's supposed to be. Anything extra creates leverage. And if you remove something that should be there, that creates leverage too. And the kind of leverage that it creates is pulling this capsule off the foot. When the horse stands, when the horse walks, no matter what the horse does, it has the structural effect of prying that hoof capsule one way while the foot wants to stand another way. And so, well, look, this is like live tissue in here, you know? And so then you start to get wounding and separation and stretching, and this lamina that grows from here that attaches into this, it starts to multiply. The wall can start being pulled out like this out here. And the lamina starts to multiply, and there's wounding and all things. But the one thing that happens with this is, okay, this piece of hoof wall that grows right here, like for life of the horse, grows down, connects to the sole here, and then they grow down. This is supposed to stay here forever. Forever. It has a placement. See, like, okay, the part of the wall that grows here, say the quarter, this wall should start here and end here forever. Okay, but what happens is, because the foot wants to stand one way, so it's pulling this way, but the capsule, because it's not fitted correctly, is being pulled the opposite direction. See, like this lamina here, and then the lamina on the hoof capsule, they got to be in alignment like so. And if not, then you have a deal where the hoof capsule's pulling one way and the lamina's pulling the other way. You have this kind of deal going on. See? Now just a minute. Okay, clear. Wait, undo. Okay, so now where was I? All right, so then what happens is this starts growing wonky, and it doesn't no longer grow down to here, connect with the sole, and then grow down to the ground together. That's what gives you good sole. It's good live sole, not flaky exfoliated. That's why a lot of times you may have good sole around the toe to a degree, but you'll be flaky in here or separation, or you'll see these horses that always flaky sole in the heel. And that's because the heels are trimmed out and this piece of wall is no longer connected here. It's up here. See, it's no longer connected with the sole. So what's going on with that foot there? What I see is he's got total wall disconnection, and the tubules are not growing straight down here where they're supposed to, connecting with the sole and then growing down like that. And that's why he's got that flaky sole and can't seem to get his sole together to grow it, because he's got no stability in his foot. And so let me undo this just a minute. Now it don't look like it, but it is, and I'll show it on you in a minute. Okay, so this piece of wall that should be right here, like I've got this right here, it's in brown. Instead, when the wall winds up like this, it is no longer connected to the sole right here where it used to be. Instead, it's clear up here. And so you cannot have decent sole or good sole or the whole, wall connected. I mean, think about it. This is what stabilizes the foot, is all these horn tubules in alignment and then connected to the sole right here. See? That's what stabilizes everything. And so when it is not specifically a certain way, then you have no stability in the foot. The foot is just washing around in the capsule and becoming disconnected from the little tubules that grow everything. And you've got all this wounding and stuff. So let's go back to your picture just a minute. And we're going to look and see what the conformation is, that hoof capsule to the inner foot. Let's see here. Okay. I actually copied that onto, well, let's do this foot. Okay, so right here, we know there's a problem, because this is the foot right here. This part is the foot, and you see the foot here. You can't see the foot behind the capsule, but you can tell what's going on with it. When you look at this bulge here, that shows you that the foot is rotated, and that all these lamina, all this horn tubules, everything. Just a minute.
Yeah, not seeing the drawing that you're doing.
Okay, I'm not drawing yet. Do you see the hoof picture?
I do.
Okay, let me get in here. Okay, so just a second. These horn tubules like this,
yeah,
are totally disconnected from where they're supposed to be. In reality, they're supposed to be about here. See? And I would think that hidden under here somewhere is a laminar wedge, because the way that see that like that, you shouldn't have that like that.
Okay.
It should look like, let me get a picture of my horse's foot. Just a second here. Okay, just a second here. I'm having a brain dead moment. Hold on. Okay, a second, because I have this thing in the way. Just a minute. New share. Okay, do you see the front of this?
Yes.
Okay, that is the way the foot should look going into the capsule. See? Now let's go back to your picture here. New share. Where am I at? There we go. Okay, you see how lumpy it is? How the bulge?
I do see that.
Okay, that's because the foot is actually rotated and bent in the capsule.
Okay.
See, and so that's forcing it to bulge in the front here. And so you see all this discoloration and the light red here, that's from hemorrhaging. Hemorrhaging in the capsule from the wall becoming from the internal lamina being under constant stress and being pulled away from one another.
Okay.
And so your probably your real toe is not right here. You probably have, it's probably bent back further, and you have a laminar wedge right here.
Okay.
Just a minute. Let me look for more pictures. Just a second here. Let's look at this picture here. Just a second. New share. See, you haven't got very much foot, so you shouldn't have this much flaky sole. Okay. This is, and then these marks and stuff. I mean, it's just showing that there's a lot of disconnection. Okay. Let's see here. Just a minute here. Let me turn it around. There we go. Okay. Yeah, just as black as it is and stuff like that. Like, okay, when you look at the bottom, you think, well, that don't look too bad. Other than, I mean, the shape and the wall and stuff like that. But when you look at the side, you see a foot that is really rotated within the capsule, and that the horn tubules have grown forward. Like the tubules that should be ending right about here, they're now ending up here. So they're not connected like what I was showing you, and that's why you have this black in here. You don't have good live sole. Let me show you good live sole here.
So I have my work cut out for me.
Yeah. So yeah, because he's got all that disconnection in his lamina. Okay. And so it's like your fingernails being torn off.
Okay.
Just a minute here. Let me new share. Okay, so this is a foot where all the horn tubules internally are connected in the right spot to the sole. Just a second here.
Linda, did you mute yourself by accident?
Oh, I sure did. Just a minute. Okay, so his horn tubules are in pretty good alignment. And that is, and so especially internally, they grow down, they connect with the soil right here, and then grow down to the ground together. And so this is why he's got nice live soil. See
Okay.
there the difference?
Yes.
You can just barely see a little bit of dead exfoliatable soil and see the white line, how healthy it is.
Yeah.
That is only because the what I was showing you to begin with, how that has to start, it starts growing down from the coronary band. It's supposed to grow in the same place all the time and connect. See, but through one way or the other, when the feet get either they got too long at some time, or the heels got, a lot of times it can be a combination of trimming too much heel, leaving too much toe. All of a sudden it sets that hoof capsule on an angle to grow forward, and it disconnects the wall from the sole right there. There's a good picture. Again, see the healthy white line all the way around?
Yeah.
You know, and it wasn't always like that with his horse, this horse either.
Okay.
So
I guess the operative question then is, because I didn't get a good heel picture, but I'll bet that I did trim out the heels.
We all did.
We all did. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So now I have to take the medicine, and I guess what I'm thinking is that I have to remove any leverage that's there and not touch his heels and keep bringing his toe back, question mark?
Well, let's look. Yeah. You know, to map the foot, to grow the heels, to work with the, you know, his foot has to stabilize if he's really tender footed.
Yeah.
You know, his feet have to stabilize. That might take a bit. And maybe you can rotate his foot back into the capsule, because that is what we're seeing on this pony. You know, I think, but that's a hypothesis theory as to what went on, you know. But definitely you're going to have to grow some heel, and then work to get the horn tubules to start coming back once you got more heel coming in.
Okay.
Just a minute here. Let me go back to your pictures and let's examine them some more.
I did mark across the apex of the frog, but because I was doing it on the side, it's crooked. So I sent you one that a picture that's edited with a blue line across the top.
Okay.
Does a little bit more.
Okay, and are you using a protractor?
I do have a protractor, yes, and I measured across, except when you're doing it, you know, when the foot is perpendicular to the ground, and yeah. Faulty measuring on my part. That's why it's there.
If you draw a line down the center,
I'll do that.
Then you can get your protractor straight by putting it on the center line.
Gotcha.
You know, at the whatever the center of the protractor is. That'll help you a lot.
Will do.
Let's see here. Okay, so let's just hold on. Let's see. New share. Okay, so I would go in there and I would cut all this hair off so you could really get a look at the cartilage up here.
Okay.
If that's okay, and see what's going on here. Seeing your bulge.
Okay.
See, get that. You know, sometimes I take hair clippers. I just trim it all up. You know, I don't know how this horse would be. So, yeah, his hoof capsule's growing like this, but his foot is more like this.
Okay.
See?
Okay.
And again, this is hemorrhaging. That's what that is.
Okay.
That discoloration, you can see it. See the pink?
Oh yeah, I see it.
Down there. And you can see a little pink there. Yeah, it'll turn, because what does blood do? It turns black, right? It turns dark. when blood gets kind of dry because the walls are way more porous than what you think.
Okay.
You know, so that seepage from the wounding in the foot comes out there. So all these horn tubules, anyway, you're just going to have to get it so that everything realigns back up. You don't want him walking out of his hoof capsule.
Yeah.
I'm sure that his toe is just right here. Very, very, very close. So you don't want the hoof capsule pushing up and him walking out of it. You understand?
Yeah.
Where that toe goes through the bottom here.
Yeah.
You know, it's such a delicate balance you got to do. I keep going to that picture.
I know you like that picture.
Yeah.
So what I think I hear you saying is that, okay, so I keep wanting in my mind to understand where I should be starting. And
okay.
So maybe we could talk about that a little bit.
Okay. Well, first of all, you're going to want to map the foot. Okay. And you draw your line in the sand. I mean, I'm just into that on every horse.
Oh, I get it.
So let me annotate here again. Let's see, just a second. Okay. So doing a full mapping, drawing down the center of the foot, finding the true apex there, measuring your 1.5 inches. Well, bring him up here. Is this a front foot or a back foot?
That's a
back. I see his butt right there.
Foot.
Okay.
Yeah, his butt.
Okay,
so 1.5 inches from the white line to the apex.
Okay. So you don't want to overdo in the toe because you don't want his foot to fall.
Okay.
Any more than it already is. So just geez. Let me look at the foot again. Just a minute. What did his foot look like before?
You mean like before those pictures were taken?
Yeah, before you trimmed him and like you said, he got kind of long.
Yeah, I thought he got kind of long. Those are about 1.5 inches, between 1.5 inches and 2 inches right there. So on that, let's see, I think that's a right front. So the medial quarters were flared badly.
Okay.
The lateral quarters were normal.
Okay.
The
was his foot just really long? Do you think he was just kind of walking out of his hoof capsule because he had too much length?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
Okay, so technically, if you just start keeping the length down, okay, and he'll start stabilizing.
Okay.
I would hope.
I would hope too. Do you think it would be helpful to have x-rays?
It never hurts.
Okay.
You know, it'd be interesting to see if he's got a laminar wedge here.
Okay.
You know, if he's got, it'll show if he's got rotation, which, like I said, all rotation is the hoof capsule got displaced, the foot went one way, the capsule went the other because of all the different leverages going on. You know, I can pretty much tell that his capsule rotated one way or another. As to whether he shows rotation or that disconnection, I don't know. But one thing would be really great would be to, if you could just clean it up a little more and cut this hair up here so we could really see what's going on with the cartilages, because that tells us a lot.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Linda.
You're welcome, dear. Thanks for sharing with us.
You're welcome. I appreciate it. I think I was afraid to do it because I was afraid of bad news, you know,
Yeah.
it's like things, but I just have to pull up my panties and do it.
Yeah, no, he could come out of this. The thing is, he don't want him out running foot races with feet like this, because he'll just tear it more and more.
Okay, will do.
Okay.
Thanks.
If I can help you, if I can help you, I will. So be a squeaky wheel. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Does anybody else have anything they want to share? I'm seeing who's here. Well, our token man ain't here today. Riza is not here. Maybe he's out in the back North 40 of Africa trimming who knows what. Well, does anybody else have anything I'd like to talk about? If not, we're going to go ahead and call it a day. And next week we'll do that dissection, which will be really interesting. And I'll get pictures of this pony and we'll see what's going on there.
Awesome.
Okay.
And I'll do those pictures too.
Okay.
I'll send those pictures.
Okay, great.
Okay.
I have one question.
Okay.
I can't remember the date, but does the Zoom invite, does that expire anytime soon? I thought it was like the second week of July or something.
Oh, let me check here, because yeah, I know that happens. Let's see here. Where am I at? Okay, I'll check. Yeah, you can only do so many, and then you got to redo it again. Let's see.
Alex, shut the door to the refrigerator.
Let's see. Meetings. There's 2 more, and then I'll have to redo it.
Okay, great. Thanks for checking for me.
Okay, so I need to remember that.
I'll try to remember to remind you.
Thank you. I need all the help I can get.
Don't we all?
All right. Well, hey, everybody have a wonderful week. You're all amazing, and happy trimming, hopefully.
Yeah. Thank you, Linda.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.